The Middle East is on a real knife's edge, teetering on the absolute brink of a full-scale war. In this explainer, we're going to unpack how this incredibly complex region went from simmering tensions to a full-blown crisis, all kicked off by a single stark ultimatum.
It all started right here, with this number, 48 hours. That was the deadline that Donald Trump gave Iran to reopen the Strait of Hormuz. Now, you have to understand, this isn't just any waterway. It's the lifeblood for nearly a third of the world's sea-traded oil. So when that clock hit zero, well, the consequences were immediate, and they were severe.
And this is the weapon that signaled the start of the assault. Suddenly, reports are flooding in about these massive strikes on an Iranian ammunition depot in Esfahan. The weapon they used? A 2,000-pound bunker buster. This thing isn't designed for just any target. It's built to drill deep underground to take out an enemy's most fortified, most strategic assets. A clear message was being sent.
And just in case there was any doubt about how serious this was, U.S. Central Command went ahead and released unclassified footage. The video showed Iranian defense systems, aircraft, even their satellite facilities just being dismantled one after another across multiple regions. This wasn't a warning shot. No way. This was a decisive and, frankly, an overwhelming show of force.
But Iran didn't just sit back. They hit back, and in a way that honestly shocked a lot of people. For the first time, on a scale like this, their missiles actually got past Israel's famous Iron Dome defense system. Now that is a huge deal. A system that many thought was practically invincible was suddenly overwhelmed. We started hearing reports of a critical shortage of interceptor missiles and that their makeshift defenses just weren't cutting it.
And this quote, from a source right there on the ground in southern Israel, it just paints such a wild picture of this new reality. You have this incredibly high-tech war happening up in the sky, and the result is this jarring image on the ground. It's a powerful reminder that the shield everyone thought was impenetrable had been broken. You know, a fire like this was never going to stay in one place. The chaos started to ripple outwards, and fast, pulling in neighboring countries and ratcheting up the danger across the entire region. And here's just a quick snapshot of that chaos spreading. These aren't just random, isolated incidents. They're all connected flashpoints. You've got Iraq, where targets are being hit dangerously close to where U.S. personnel are stationed. In Qatar, a refugee camp becomes collateral damage, hit by debris from an intercepted missile. And then, off the coast of Dubai, a drone hits an oil tanker, which is a direct threat to that vital flow of oil we were just talking about. Each one of these events is like lighting a new fire. But then, right when it looked like all-out war was basically a done deal, something totally unexpected happened. An unlikely diplomatic channel opened up. A surprise mediator stepped onto the world stage, offering a very fragile, very high-stakes path away from the edge. So you've got this crazy split-screen reality playing out in real time. On one side, you have the brutal military escalation we've been talking about, and on the other, something nobody saw coming. Pakistan, working with China, is trying to broker a deal between Washington and Tehran. It's this fascinating long-shot diplomatic play, a back channel running in the shadows of open conflict. And these are the key people trying to pull this off. You have Pakistan's foreign minister, Ishaq Dar, who is reportedly so committed that he traveled to China even with a fresh head injury. Then there's Field Marshal Asim Munir, who the U.S. administration apparently thinks is a credible voice who really understands Iran. And of course, you have China, using its own influence to try and open a line of communication that just wouldn't exist otherwise. Okay, so while the diplomats are talking, wars cost a ton of money. And this brings up a really controversial question, one the White House was quick to answer. Who's going to foot the bill for all this? The administration's position is pretty clear, and it feels a lot like the 1990 Gulf War. The message is the U.S. brings the military power, and its regional allies are expected to pay for it. Now, this creates a really tense situation because this demand is being made while those exact same allies are watching their own critical oil infrastructure come under direct attack. But, beyond all the geopolitics and the financial math, there's the final and honestly the most devastating ripple of this conflict, the staggering human cost. Just look at this number, 1,200. That's how many lives have reportedly been lost in Lebanon alone, just since the beginning of March. It's a stark, brutal number that reminds us of the terrible price being paid by civilians who are caught right in the middle of a widening war. And the suffering, it takes so many different forms. In Gaza, the fallout is both humanitarian and environmental. With infrastructure collapsing, there are reports of sewage being released into the sea.
This isn't just poisoning the water, it's completely decimating the local fishing industry, which is a critical source of food and money for a population that's already under unbelievable pressure.
So that brings us right here to the final crucial question. With bombs falling on one hand and this high-stakes, back-channel diplomacy working to stop them on the other, the whole region is just spiraling. You have a few key players gambling everything on peace. But the question that's left is, can this diplomatic effort actually put out the fire? Or, for the Middle East, has that 48-hour clock already run out?